Here.
Okay, we're live.
And we're live. And I just jumped into a beautiful Monday morning in Colorado with having just finished a level 3 with a group of women that came in from around the United States and Australia to study with me. So we're talking today, we've been talking about a series of planets that you guys can use as a resource that tells you the beginning flavors of astrology. But if you do the whole school, which is what we just finished, there's level 1 where you learn all about you. Level 2, you learn the technology of how to do a reading. And level 3, you actually come in person and you get to spend 3 days with my team and myself. And we go really deep. And it's a very profound encounter of understanding everything from karma, because people come in, there's these people that come in from all over Boulder and Colorado. They drive for hours, some of them, to have a free reading. And then the student does the reading with me sitting next to the student. So they're learning how to do astrology with a script that I've taught them. And they've learned over the last, say, 3 months, 4 months, only beginners. If you're interested in learning astrology and you've never known how to enter it, because it's such a vast science and it has this like endless array. And if you listen to the different astrologers, we were listening to some of them this weekend, it's so funny. They talk beautiful, poetic, metaphoric conversations about archetypes. But in our practice, why we call it applied astrology, is it applies in a very practical way. So when the person finishes a session, they can go and change their life. So for example, someone came in, it was so intense, and everything's based on Saturn. So we're going to talk about Saturn today, but the entire school is based on Saturn. So one of the women came in and she had Saturn in Scorpio, which means that her life lesson was all about her emotional body, and it often shows up with physical symptoms. Saturn and Scorpio, they have something wrong with their body that catches their attention, that then slows them down, because Saturn, as you are going to find out, is all about slowing you down and really giving you a focus around destiny or purpose or discipline or mission or why am I here? All those questions relate to Saturn. So she had Saturn in Scorpio and she used her body, her physical symptoms, to get her attention. And so she was diabetic, and she had quite a few things wrong with her. And it was it was such a compassionate act to hear her story and realize why she had such a difficult life. So the point of that conversation is different people came in, they told us their stories. We could see the dynamics of their chart, but you never know how it'll translate. Astrology is a very spontaneous, hands-on, experiential science. You can study it. There's theories, and the girls that were in the group that came to level 3, because it's expensive, they were really studying, but you never really get to know about astrology until the tires hit the ground and you meet the person face to face and find out, is there Saturn taking them down the road of evolution and they're disciplined and they're doing their life's work, or is there Saturn kicking their ass? And it goes one of two ways. It's as simple as that. And so we got to see in every single session, I'm thinking of one of the other women, I fell in love with her. She was Leo rising. She had Sun in Capricorn. And what was her moon in? Her moon was in, so they come to me. That's a good question. She didn't have a very strong emotional body. She had no water in her chart. So but it was interesting about her chart was she had a very strong relationship with Saturn. It was in the 10th house, and she was very goal oriented, and she worked at a school and she had all these students, but she had no water in her chart. And so the girl imagined she wouldn't be a very emotional person, but when speaking to her, she was involved with her students, and she was an art teacher, and she was so creative. Although she had moon in Libra, conjunct Uranus in the 3rd house. Why does that stuff stick in my head? So weird. I just saw her chart. So she was detached. Her moon was an air sign. You've learned about moon. So she couldn't feel her own feelings, but she could feel for her students and for her kids. She had kids, and she was an emotional person, but she had no access to her own emotions. So her Saturn was so goal oriented and so ambitious that her career was amazing, but her relationship really suffered. So you get to see Saturn going in many directions. Either it brings you this disciplined, focused, compassionate desire to serve, or it distracts you with symptoms of guilt and shame and inadequacy and physical symptoms. Saturn is the teacher. It's either a mean teacher who slaps you around because you're not listening, or it's the benevolent teacher who goes, okay, good work, come with me. I always describe Saturn as the high school principal. So you either go in his office and he goes, good to see you, Deb. I'm so glad you're here. Like, I've seen you around the halls and you're doing great. I've got great feedback about you. I saw you were a cheerleader. Or you see the principal of the school and he goes, you again. And that's exactly how Saturn works. Either the principal of the school is happy to see you because you've done your work and you've been a dutiful, obedient civilian, so to speak, an organized, responsible contributor to our society, or which Saturn loves, or you're a menace, or you're lazy, or you're not doing enough. So it goes one of two ways. So we're going to look at that today. And I want to stop by saying, let's take a breath. Mercury is retrograde. It is asking us to go backwards. I just had the funnest thing. You know what I did today? And I didn't think I was going to do this. God, it was so fun. It's such a Mercury retrograde thing to do. I'm going tomorrow to fly off to Hawaii. And I went into my closet and I released, I wish you could see the pile, all these clothes that honestly, I can't wear as a 60-year-old woman. Like there's been a transition that's occurred for, it's aging and it's body changing. And it's so respectful, Saturn, Mercury retrograde, to look back without the judgments. I kind of had fun, like the era of those clothes and the way they used to fit and how my body used to look. And the peaceful, gentle, compassionate elder that says, Deb, here's the good news. Saturn's talking. This is Saturn. You're aging. Gravity's having her way. You're not as whatever. And how beautiful. That's completely different than what typical Saturn people say, which is you're aging, gravity's having its way, and you look like shit. So Saturn is always a fork in the road. It's always it's like you're driving down the street and then there's this fork in the road. Will I take the path of discipline? Will I clean the house? Will I take care of my taxes? Will I take care of my car? Will I take care of what's under my bed? Will I clean up my closets? Or I don't care. I'm busy. And Saturn is the muscle. Think of Saturn as a muscle. And it gives you the get up and go. And the only reason why you would do that, get up and go and be disciplined, is if you were a disciple. And who are you a disciple of? Well, Saturn rules the father. You're the disciple of God in the male sense. I like to think of, lately I've been thinking of God as a female. But if you think of God in the male sense, at the best, he's a benevolent, kind, stern, somewhat emotionless, because he doesn't really care if you're happy or you're sad. He's just determined to have you, one, perfectly honest, evolve the species. He's not so concerned about you personally, Saturn. Two, concerned about you evolving your own soul. But the first concern of this planet is, can the frequency evolve as a collective? And then it comes to you personally. And I see it even in my own life, like as a Jewish woman, the collective pattern I was carrying from my childhood was, like everything was so hard and so sad and everything was so cheap. Like, you couldn't really afford to spend money on yourself and you had to really be responsible to a whining, sad, I don't know why that was, but I could answer the question simply that my parents and their grandparents all had very difficult lives. This is Saturn. It's the bloodline. It's the lineage of your bones and your teeth and your blood. It's like the anchor of what your human existence was. So in my lineage, as probably all of yours, who came from happy parents? Raise your hand. Oh, look, no one's raising their hand. All of our lineage came with a whining, poor me. I'm a refugee. I'm an immigrant. I have nowhere to go. I don't speak the language. How many of us, this is what's so funny about the conversation now in America. Everybody here came in as an immigrant. There was no such thing as an American. The English came in and the Scottish came in and the Germans came in and the Russians came in and the Chinese came in and the Mexicans came in, and we all call ourselves American. So everyone's lineage came in with the angst because you came across the waters or across the border with the pain. This is very Saturn. Now we're in 2017, almost 2018. I'm looking forward to that 8. And we're at this moment in history, I call it her story, where we get to say to our children, to my children, who I'm having dinner with tonight, you guys, listen, you don't have to be caught by the Saturnian imprint and impression your father got from his father of being an alcoholic or not having money or being a workaholic and having too much money. Like some people, I see these clients, they came in from great wealth. Their fathers were in oil in the 30s, and then they end up with this huge legacy. And that's just as karmically difficult to carry the position of the heiress or the inherited trust fund baby, because now you have the karma of that dynamic and everyone's jealous of you and you have to feel inadequate because you don't understand them or feel arrogant because you don't understand. So you can see Saturn rules this universe. Again, teeth, bones, structures, government, buildings, rocks. You know, it's like the I love Saturn. And I figured it out at a very young age. I can remember this distinctly. I was in London and I was in my 20s. And I learned at a very young age that if I worked out every day, I would feel really good. So Saturn is discipline. And I happen to come with a very strong Saturn. In my chart, Saturn trines my moon, Saturn trines my Uranus, Saturn sextiles my sun, or no, opposite my sun, Saturn sextiles my ascendant. Saturn likes me because I'm assuming that in some past life I did astrology before. Got that funny feeling? You get that feeling that I've known it for a little bit? And I've been very respectful and obedient to that which created astrology, created me, created us. I have a very profound relationship with spirit. So if you are respectful to that form, then Saturn imbues you with some semblance of discipline. So at the sweet age of, I want to say I was like 28, and I remember coming home from a workout in London. It's funny how you have memories. And I remember thinking, like having like a download, because I would every day of my life, almost every day of my life, I'm in a sauna or a steam or a hot tub or a pool or an ocean or a bathtub. I honor water. And I figured it out at a young age. So I'd come out of the steam, and I remember thinking, I figured it out, how to stay young. Keep exercising, and not a lot. Not like I was ever a triathlete or a competitor, or I ever swam with a group. I've never ever been part of a group of astrologers or a group of swimmers or a group of runners, but I've done it all on my terms with consistency. So write this word down next to Saturn: discipline, consistency, and commitment. Now, people, the first word is a big fat turnoff, like, ew, I don't want to have discipline. I don't even know what that word means, especially come Christmas and Thanksgiving. We pigged out, we don't feel good. And then we have Christmas, we spend all of our money, and that is the last thing called discipline. Well, if you're disciplined through the year, there's windows of time, said Saturn, where you're allowed to go indulge, get drunk, eat too much, spend too much, go shopping, have fun. It's just the consistency of the natural rhythm, or the mundane rhythm, the classical rhythm, I would say. Saturn rules classical style, classical rhythm, traditional, maintaining, sustaining. So if your maintenance or your normal rhythm is to work out, then every once in a while you throw the forget about it and you just spend 2 weeks and you go have a party and you have Christmas. So I want you to hear that discipline is not a friendly energy, and you probably suffer from it. At least I know that I have suffered from the lack of discipline. But I'm going to tell you the secret code, you guys. Listen to me. For all of you that are listening, I just got a little message from Carrie that we've got some really good conversation going on here. Carrie, what did you say to me? I want to know where your Saturn is, but more importantly, I want to know where your Saturn is for you to you. You don't need to tell me. Here's what you got to ask yourself. Ready? If the secret is out, that consistency, commitment, and some semblance of follow through or deliberateness or discipline, consistency, discipline, follow through, if those are words you're not friendly with, then you're going to want to go look where your Saturn is. Because I'm going to tell you right now, it is the key to success. It's the key to timelessness. It's the key to wisdom. It's the key to feeling like you've fulfilled your purpose here and you can die tomorrow knowing you've done your work. I mean, what's more important? In the end of the story, you guys, listen to me. It's Sag, the sun's in Sag today. At the end of the story, you finish here. And they're going to take you to the pearly gates. You bet there's going to be, whether you believe in this or not, I'm here to tell you, just like stay with me. There is a pathway from here as you leave your body. And if you're willing to be conscious in the transition, which means you study astrology, you learn Reiki, you do yoga, you take meditation, you do mindfulness, you read about death and dying, feed your mind preparation as the Buddhists do, the tukus, the highly evolved Buddhists, they prepare for their death their whole life. There should be a seamless transition between your life and your death. We're not afraid of life and we're not afraid of death. We stay true to life when we're here and we stay true to death. So you're on your way out, you're going up the pearly gates. There's a host of angels that show up, some of whom are your very favorite people, your grandparents that you didn't even know loved you as they do, your lineage, your Saturnian lineage shows up. My dad's going to be there. My mom's going to be there. My dad's going to be there. My dad's going to be there. They take your hand and there's some energetic, it's not even your hand, it's your soul. And they transition you to a place where you're face to face over time with your own soul. And your soul is divided into a fork in the road. Either it's a young soul who's completely still learning and it's youthful, or it's an old soul who's obedient and following the rules and doing what's been asked based on your Saturn. So if you want to evolve and take the high road and stay at the nicer hotel, when you get to the pearly gates and they put you in the right category where you should go stay, it'll be because you've been obedient and respectful and mindful, and you took care of your stuff down here and you stayed in your body and you ate well. And if you didn't eat well, you knew how to at least bless your food before you ate it, and you took care of your body and you took care of your skin and you took care of your car and you took care of your money and you took care of your kids. But most of all, you were respectful. Then you go to the left, and that's the door to the Hyatt. If you say to them, oh my God, I had too many lifetimes and I just got so tired and I didn't want to go on the diet and I didn't want to exercise and I didn't want to take care of the kids. I got fed up with the stupid planet and I got sick all the time. They go, okay, you're going to the Holiday Inn. What's that called? The Hotel 6. It's no judgment, because guess what? If you can't handle what's in the here and now, you'll handle it later. You always have time to handle the next lifetime. It goes on forever. You know why we live forever, said Saturn? Do you know why Saturn goes on forever? Because it takes that long to say thank you. And as soon as you get, remember I did a whole webinar on saying thank you. As soon as you get used to saying thank you, it's a magical thing. You're going to go to the left and you're going to go to the Hyatt. And I'm going to see you and go, oh, you were listening to one of those webinars, Facebook Live, back in November, December, January of 2018, 17, the end of the year, because I was giving all these free sessions away because I wanted to say, you guys, first of all, the planet needs you to wake up and be respectful to your own physical incarnation. Second of all, your soul wants to evolve so it can get better and better lifetimes coming down here. And third of all, I'm so glad you're here because I don't like to be alone. Just saying. Okay, we have, first I want you to hear, Saturn is retrograde 3 times a year, yes. Is your Saturn retrograde, is it significant? We'll talk about it. But first, I don't want you to jump into your head and go into theory right now. I want you to go into your heart. Let's just ask you this question. On a scale from 0 to 10, what would you score your discipline? If 0 is you have none, you eat potato chips for breakfast, you have Twinkies, and your house is a mess, and you haven't cleaned your shoes or your car or taken care of your taxes, and for God's sake, the police are coming, that would be 0. And if 10 is you're uber disciplined to the point where you're running triathletes and you're super overcharged about your being so achieving and you're really, really wealthy and you feel really responsible, but you're kind of bored, that would be a 10. You don't want a 10, but you could have a 10. I doubt anyone out there scoring them to a 10. So 0 to 10, I'd love to hear, Carrie, just what the range is. If you would read to me what the comments are. 0 is the lowest, 10 is the highest. What's your level of discipline that's operative in your life right now?
Kathy said that she's 9. Let's see, we'll wait a few seconds for some more people to put things 9? In. She said 9, yeah.
So that's a really cool sign.
Veronica's an 8.
This is great. So all I want to know, and you guys can keep putting down your numbers, is the more you're disciplined and you're respectful, and I'm talking about, listen to me, it's everything from diet to money to your bedroom to how you put your clothes away to how you take care of your kids to how you speak to yourself. It's just, and if you're honest, there's Helen, Paula, that's so honest. So the range, if you're below 5, it's time to take your Saturn, and we're going to look at it in a moment. Where is your Saturn? This is great. You guys are so honest. We're as low as a 3. Thank you, Paula, for telling the truth. And we're as high as a 9. I wish I knew who this was, Sandra and Nikki. I wonder if you're my Sandras and Nikki that I know. So, because I know that's not the Sandra I know. She's not at a 2. So 0 is low, 10 is high. What level are you at with your Saturnian discipline? Okay, now let's talk about the placement for each of you, where your Saturns are, because I know that's why you're listening today. And if you want to take the school and you want to come learn about astrology, you've got to answer this question: am I committed to being here? It took me so long. I've always had discipline because you incarnate with it from a past life. Some people just come with it. It's so, if Saturn is trining your sun or opposite your sun or conjunct your sun, you came with it. If Saturn is squaring your sun, squaring your moon, squaring your ascendant, you're challenged by it. In which case, you're going to have to pick up your muscles. If your north node's in Capricorn, good for you. You came in with it. If your south node's in Capricorn, good for you. You did it before. Let's see what the results were. So if your Saturn's in Aries, you came in this life to learn to be pushy and to not be passive. So you have permission to be like me. If your Saturn's in Taurus, please do me a favor. Just admit you're a little insecure. And it's okay to slow down and study astrology on your terms. Come take the class, but it'd be so good for you to learn how to be calm and not feel bad about being slow. Because you're really okay to slow down if you can. If you're like one of our dearest people in our team, she's a Taurus, Saturn and Taurus, but she's a Gemini. And it's been a stretch for her to slow down. If your Saturn's in Gemini, you must learn about your mind. It's as simple as this, you guys. You go on to astro.com, you click on the top of the chart, it says free horoscopes. You all know how to get your chart. I just want to tell the beginners because I don't want you to be left out. Free horoscopes on the top of the page on astro.com. And then the left-hand top corner, it says chart drawing. You click on that. You put your information in, push return, continue, and you'll see your chart. And then in the corner, upper right-hand corner, there is English in a blue box, and you'll see the word Saturn, and you'll see what sign it's in, and you'll refer back to this recording because we will send this to you. So that was Saturn and Gemini, using the mind to focus, to be deliberate, to be intent with your intellect and not let your mind, because Saturn and Gemini means you're going to change all this lifetime. You're just going to keep changing. And that's great. Don't judge where your Saturn is because, by the way, it lasts your whole life long. Saturn and Cancer, you have an emotional issue where you have to learn about your family dynamics and not just think that because you went to therapy 20 years ago, you're done. You have to keep processing your emotional body and be authentic about it. And you have a great love for cooking and playing house, but the issue is you want to make sure you clean the karma of your family because that's what the karmic agreement was. Gemini was the karmic agreement was to clean your mind up. Taurus was to learn about money and being patient. And Aries was to learn about your physical body and being strong and assertive. If your Saturn's in Leo, I love this one. We had somebody with Saturn and Leo this weekend. You're here to show up and show off and make it about you. It's a fun placement, Saturn and Leo, but you're probably shy and a little bit self-conscious. If your Saturn's in Virgo, it's a hard one because your critic just drives you crazy. Never think you're doing enough, you're getting enough done. When the Saturn in Virgo matures, it's a wonderful thing because they stop being so hard on themselves. That's a really hard one. Saturn in Libra exalted, you came to do relationship, but you've got to choose to do it. Can't be ambivalent. Either jump in or jump out, but don't lead people on and flirt too long anyway. Saturn in Scorpio is one of the most challenging. You're dealing with the psychological. It's what I talked about, that woman this weekend that we met that had her body kind of implode to get her attention. It's like, you get sick and you have to keep waking up. Saturn in Sag is a really fun one. It's all about telling the truth, being honest, but not overindulging and not underindulging. Some Saturn and Sagittarius don't indulge at all, because if the Saturn, remember the fork in the road, it goes one of two ways. Either the Saturn and Sag is loud, blunt, and honest, or they don't want to speak up and they're just controlled and internal. Saturn and Scorpio, they're sexual and powerful, or they're totally not being sexual at all and shut it down. Saturn and Libra, they're all about relationships, or they don't do relationship at all. Saturn and Virgo, they're super detailed, or else they don't even care about it. Saturn and Leo, they love to be seen and they're a great actress, or they're shy and staying home. Saturn and Cancer, they cry, they're so emotional, or they feel nothing anymore. They're always happy and band-aiding it. Saturn and Gemini, your mind goes all the time, or you can't even think straight. You can't make a decision. Saturn and Gemini can be a very good decision maker. Saturn in Taurus, you're really good with money, or you're not good with money at all. You're really patient, or you're so fast you can't slow down. Saturn in Aries, you're either really strong-willed and you've got this get up and go, or you're finding yourself unable to get your get up and go going. So back to where we were in Saturn in Sag, going one of two ways. I thought of that because I have Saturn in Sag, and I didn't have a drink till I was 40 years old. That's Saturn and Sag. Like, what was wrong with me? Saturn, because I don't know, it was just so concerned to not want to be the, unconsciously, I just didn't want to get lost in that land of Sagittarius. Saturn and Capricorn, you're either a workaholic and you're amazing, so focused, or you don't get your work done and you're slightly lazy and you think you're getting work done, but you're not really disciplined and focused. Saturn and Aquarius, you're very eccentric. We've got lots of kids like this. You don't fit in and you feel separate and different, but it doesn't give you the gift of feeling separate and different. It gives you the gift of alienation. Or if it's a healthy Saturn and Aquarius, you feel really different and you know how to use your style and your design and your, whether it's architecture or clothes or art, you're not letting yourself follow and you're good with it. Saturn and Pisces, those are people that really, this is a hard one. They're either super intuitive and really gifted psychically, or they're just so scared. They don't want to use that ability. They remember being a witch in some past life because Saturn is your lineage. So Saturn and Pisces can be a real gifted seer and psychic and intuitor and a gifted, like great cook but or else they don't want to do it. They get caught in the scary thing. Saturn and Pisces. Look at my hair, it was wet. And then those are the 12 Saturns. And you have to look at yours, and then you have to ask yourself, which side of this am I on? Am I doing Saturn in going to the Hyatt? Did I get permission this lifetime to say to Saturn, principal saw me in this hallway and said, you're doing great, Deb. I see that you're drinking now and you're letting yourself have a little party here and there. Good for you. Or I see you're not drinking now. I'm so proud of you, Saturn and Pisces. You stopped using. Saturn and Scorpio, you're not addicted anymore. It was your life lesson and you stepped over it. Saturn and Cancer, you're in therapy. Saturn and Aries, you are working out. Saturn and Taurus, you take care of your money and you're so grounded and patient. Saturn and Gemini, you're journaling. Isn't this fun? Saturn and Leo, you go shopping and you spend money on yourself. Saturn and Virgo, you've learned compassion and you're not criticizing yourself. Wow. Saturn and Libra, you're totally married or you're totally single and you like it. Saturn and Scorpio, you're not displacing your shadow onto other people. You're owning your dark side. Saturn and Capricorn, look at you. You really achieved this life. You're corporate, you're business, you're successful. Good for you. Or you decided you didn't want to work and you're just enjoying yourself. Saturn and Aquarius, look at you. You've got the coolest sense of style. You've completely invented something and you've used that gift. And Saturn and Pisces, you're a psychic, you're a magician. Tell me I didn't leave anybody out. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sag, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. I think I got them all. It's 1:30 on the dot here in Colorado and my hair dried in the nick of time. Okay, Carrie, tell me, we've got hearts, we got love. So you guys, here's the deal. The single most important thing in my school is to wake you up and get you enrolled to fulfill your promise. And I will inspire you and we'll set the fires, not just me, it's my mentors. I've got we're hoping this next school, we have 300 students that come in. And that you guys are the ones that say, I'm investing $1,000. That's how much the class is. I'm investing $1,000 in myself. From the months of February, March, and April, I am going to devote myself to studying astrology. It starts off at 1,000. You're going to take 6 weeks and delve into your psyche. And the last class of level 1 is all about Saturn. That's all, it was so interesting at level 3, what these girls, we go through the whole thing again at level 3. I won't stop talking about Saturn. And my prayers when I get home, they'll say, you can go to the Hyatt, Deb. You cannot go back incarnate if you don't want to. You can move to Hawaii and be born a little Hawaiian girl if you want, or a Hawaiian king or queen. I'm going to go for the little girl. I'm going to surf naked. You're going to know it's me. I have a little pin on that says it is me because no one's going to recognize me. I'm coming back without talking. God, can she talk? I'm going to be a Cancer. I told you this. This is what you want to look for. If you're going to be interested in meeting me, you want to incarnate on the south side of Kauai. I'm going to be a little kind of a round little girl, a little big. I'm going to do hula at the age of like 5. I'll be chanting. I'm eating raw coconut out of the thing. And I have salt water in my eyes and don't even notice it because I'm so used to being surfing naked. I'm in the future. Oh my God, that's not Saturn. Saturn is the past. Okay, so I've been an astrologer before. I'll come clean. All right, I think we've done it. What do you think, Carrie?
I think so too. Everybody is loving it. And a lot of people are asking for you to clarify certain signs, but this video will always live on the Facebook page. So if you missed one, make sure that you come back in a little bit and you'll be able to watch it again.
Good thinking there, Carrie. See our Saturn, see our whole organization, including Carrie and Hoku and Misty and Chris and Val and all of us are like Saturnian. We're disciplined. We follow through. We say what we mean. We mean what we say. Thank you, Destiny. That's who started this whole movie. And look we're still doing it.
Awesome. We'll be back next week with Neptune.
Oh, Neptune. Have a little drink before you start that class. That is not Saturn.